It's a good time to be a Fury Warrior. Let's talk about it going into 9.0.5 and 9.1.
Quickly before we start, I want to shout out my Twitch stream where we go live every Sunday, Tuesday and Wednesday from 7:30 to 11 PM UK playing WoW, answering all your Fury Warrior questions. And if you want to further support us, then please do consider giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel and turning on your notifications. Anyway, on with the video.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning champions, and welcome back to another video. And today we are talking about Fury Warrior and the state of Fury Warrior going into 9.0.5/9.1 and what's going to come of our class as the expansion progresses. We've got BlizzCon in what, a week's time now? Granted, if you're watching this after, it may have already happened. Who knows? So we've potentially got a lot of content coming and a lot of content for us as Fury Warriors to shine out. So let's start talking about where we're at the minute. So overall, we are in a very good space now. It's taken us a while to get here. There's been a load of trials and tribulations that the class has gone through, but we're finally actually in a very decent spot, in a spot where I've personally been invited into dungeons just because I'm a Fury Warrior, to topping DPS charts in raids and also in Mythic and just in general world content. We've gone through an awful lot, but we're actually in a very good space right now. The logs are changing all the time, but they're always changing into our favour, and we're going, generally speaking, through a good path. There's been so much theory crafting going on to see like what works best for us. When there's an expansion change, there's always a mass theory crafting period, especially for Fury Warriors who rely so heavily on their gear that we need to test it. We need to test things out, and it takes us a while until we have access to certain gear and certain legendaries in certain parts of the game. We're not going to know. You're not casting spells, you're a warrior, you hit things. We don't stand at the back and cast Ice Lance for half an hour. So since the inception of Castle Nathria, we've had 3 total buffs. We started back in December with a 5% buff, followed by an 8% buff back in January, and then last week, the first week of February, we had another 3% buff. So in total, that's a good amount of percentage up. It's a total of 16% since we first started, and considering the amount of nerfs that we had as a class during pre-patch and after that corruption phase when corruption was just a bit weird, we got nerfed quite a lot. So now we're kind of back to where we were before. And if you wanted to know the mathematics behind the percentage changes, we roughly worked out that per percentage is 100 DPS. So we've seen what 1600 DPS total buffing of our class on our abilities. Granted, they missed out things like Bladestorm and Dragon Roar, but they were always relatively good powered anyway. This has just been part and parcel due to the loud community, and a lot of people play Fury Warrior, and people like to play Fury Warrior. They don't like to play ARMS. And a lot of people have been really vocal about this. I have myself. I know kind of some of the bigger Fury Warriors out there, such as Mephisto and Haji. They've all been really loud about ensuring that this class gets the love it deserves. It's one of the most popular classes in the World of Warcraft. It needs its buffs. Give them more. We don't need more. Maybe a little bit. Just one bit. One little bit more. So next we're going to start talking about the specifics and certain things that we're actually good in, and the current state of us in current content as of right now, and where that's going to lead us into future patches. So as far as Castle Nathria is concerned, we are in a great spot here. Fury Warrior is doing really well. The state of Fury Warrior in the Castle Nathria raid is high. We're in a good position. 2/3 at least of Castle Nathria is a cleaving fight. Effectively, you've got Huntsman, you've got Lady Nerva, you've got Sun Kings, and they're all really big cleaving fights. And as we know, Fury Warriors have always been good at cleave, regardless of where our spec's been. We've always been good at cleaving abilities, and this raid is really helping us shine. I realise a lot of raids do have cleaving, but this one feels more cleavy than previous raids maybe, and that's putting us in an amazing spot. There's certain fights, I'll put some screens over now, but during things such as Sun Kings, me and other Fury Warriors are literally topping those charts. So granted, it's a cleave fight, but we're doing insane amounts of damage, up there with kind of like 12, 13, 14k at some points, really spiking out and really showing why we're a good class, especially in something like the Sun Kings fight. The better our cleaving, the quicker the fight is going to be, and the quicker you can heal Kael'thas up. As far as the logs are concerned as well, you're going to see a massive jump. I'm going to put the screens up on the screen now as well, but we've jumped from being 20th out of 24 to kind of being that top 10. There was even a point last week when the additional buff first came out, where on that Wednesday morning, Fury was 3rd. Granted, it's because people wanted to play it, so there was a lot of logs suggesting Fury play, but within that first 24 hours, Fury was top 3. Granted, it's gone back down, but it's still within the top 10 now, more because kind of things are settling out and people were just doing more testing rather than anything. But we've jumped so high. We've, like, considering where we were to where we are now, that jump has been insane. And that's not just true of the top 95th percentile, that's also true for the overall everyone logs. We have jumped significantly from being at that bottom to being at that top, and we're in a good space right now. And that's not just due to buffs. People always seem to think it's just buffs. It's not due to just buffs. It's also because we have access to our gear. We have access to our legendaries. We're getting more and more geared up in the game, and Fury Warrior, as we know, relies so heavily on its gear to be top notch in order to perform at its highest and its best. And then Mythic Plus, let's chat about that. I look like raiding. We weren't in a good spot, but now people want us. There was a period of time back when Mythic Plus first started where literally I would get denied because I was a Fury Warrior. They would ask me what I was, and I would say I'm a Fury, and they'd be like, no, don't want you. And it was infuriating. It was honestly infuriating because I just wanted to play. I just wanted to do Mythic Plus. But this week, as of filming on Tuesday the 9th of February, I got invited because I was Fury. Someone messaged me saying, are you Fury or Armed? I said Fury, and they took me in. And that is because of the buffs, because of our cleave, and because of the change in Legendary. We're going to go into that in a minute. Mythic Plus is one of our best, is where we truly shine. The buffs again have jumped us insanely high on the logs. Again, it's that jump from the 20th up until the top 10th, and we're really showing our true colours again because of the change in Legendary, such as Sing with the Tormented Kings, and because of the Fury crafting, and realising that actually Bladestorm is the top talent to go for as long as you pair it with a cancel macro. We're amazing. We're doing so good. There's been dungeons where I've genuinely put out 15k on some of the bigger pools, and it's so useful. We're so well utilised in Mythic Plus because of our cleaving, our ability to cleave and take down trash like it's literally nothing. You melt it. It's insane. Next, we're going to talk about the legendary changes and kind of where that's taking us off into 9.0.5/9.1. So at the time of filming this, which is a key thing, this is being filmed on Tuesday the 9th. Signet the Tormented Kings is your go-to legendary for every single scenario. Going into 9.1 and 9.0.5, it's important to know this because if you're still using Deathmaker, you're going to be kind of the weaker out of the bunch. Signet the Tormented Kings is the go-to most powerful legendary as of filming this. Like I said, you need to have your cancel macro to ensure that you do this effectively, and you need certain things such as Fresh Meat Talented so that when you charge in, do your recklessness, you have the right things activated and you're enraged. We've seen a massive change in that. This was only going to be used in cleaving fights. However, because of such things as cancelling your Bladestorm, and if I'm honest, the API on raid bots was broken for like the first 8 weeks. So no one knew this, and it was always simming lower, but this is your go-to legendary, and if you haven't got it already, I urge you to get it, craft it, and level it up into the highest rank that you can. It's going to be key to having this going into 9.0.5 and into 9.1 because it's showing its true colours now. It's showing how strong this legendary ability is. So it's worth to have it. Get it. Go get it. Gear yourself up, and then you'll see that when it comes to 9.0.5, depending what we get, I have a few theories, but I'm going to keep them hush for now. We will start to shine, and we'll stop being that kind of top 5. We'll go from top 10 to top 5 in a matter of weeks, I can imagine. But it's important to have this legendary. That's been one of the big changes since Castle Nathria comes out. That's been our big change that has happened, going from Deathmaker to this. This is your go-to. This is the only legendary you need. Yes, there's some theory crafting out there based on some other ideas. Some of them kind of fun. We talk about them a lot on stream. But Bladestorm is your strongest with Signet the Tormented Kings and making sure that you have the right macros and the right rotation down. Link up there for rotation video. Lastly, I want to talk about gearing and kind of the state of our gear going into 9.1 and 9.0.5. So as I said, gearing is a really important thing that we need, and we need to be top geared in order to top perform, such as our weapons, such as the armor we're wearing, such as the enchants and slots that we use. We need to ensure that we have the best gear to actually be best performing, and the first patch of World of Warcraft expansions are always going to be weaker as a Fury Warrior. So going into 9.0.5 and then from 0.5 up to 9.1, you're going to see a massive jump in gearing, in abilities of Fury Warriors, and that overall DPS that we're putting out. By 9.1, a lot of warriors are going to have 226 gear and kind of have that highest gear, which means we're going to be better performing, and the higher population that has that, the better we're going to be as an overall class, and there'll be documentation of the better strength that our class has now developed. So come 9.1, we're going to be in a great spot. Keep farming those out. 9.1 is possibly going to be what, April, May kind of time. So up until then, end game content is only going to get easier for you, and you're going to be getting that higher gear, which means the state of our class come 9.1 is going to be very, very high. We're going to be so geared that we're going to be a powerhouse of a class. And this links in nicely with Single-Minded Fury versus Titan's Grip. The testing that we've done and the testing that the community has done, again, if you're not already on the Fury Warrior Discord, there's a link down below. There's tons of theory crafters on there. But what we have seen is Single-Minded Fury attacks faster for low DPS, whereas Titan's Grip attacks slower for higher DPS. So generally speaking, you're only seeing 30 DPS difference. From the simming I've done and from the testing I've done, I've only actually seen that amount of difference. I mean, you get a 5% speed boost, which is always useful. So again, this is kind of just down to your own thing. I think single-minded fury looks stupid. I don't like carrying little axes. I like carrying big hammers. That's my personal preference. I see the damage there. Again, when it comes to gearing, go onto websites such as Raid.io, look at the top Fury Warriors that are in Mythic Plus and look at their gear. It's a good way of testing and kind of checking what the meta is at a quick glance kind of thing. But going into 9.1 with our top gear, with everything being 226 by 9.1 down in May, we're going to be in a powerhouse. We're going to be amazing. I'm calling it again. So, little summary to end with. Come 9.1, even 0.5, we are going to be in a really, really good space. We're going to have the gear we need, the legendaries we need. We're going to have our rotation down because we know that we need to do certain things at certain times. We're going to be in a really, really good space. And granted, it's been a rocky road up until now. The last 8 weeks of Castle Nathria have been tough for Fury Warriors. But in the last week, we have seen a massive increase in the logs. We've seen a massive increase in overall DPS, and the change in meta and the change in the theory crafting and testing. We've seen that we actually come out on top in a lot of scenarios. I realize this has been a long video. It's been a lot of talking. It's been more of a talking video and kind of, like I said, it's a state of video. So it's going to be a lot of just kind of chatting about where we're at right now. But we're in a good space. We are. If this video goes viral, all Mythic Plus people, you have to accept us now. Everyone knows melee is awful in Mythic Plus, especially during a storming week. Hate storming so much. Anyway, that's our video done for this week. As always, please make sure you like, comment and subscribe and turn your notifications on. As you can see above me right now, we have a list of names, and these are the supporters over on Patreon and over on Twitch. That's our video. Fury Warriors doing good. We're going to be a powerhouse come 9.1. 0.5 is going to kind of push us that little bit further. It's going to be good. Good luck, Warriors. We've got this. See you in next week's video. Bye-bye.